everyone. Happy New Year 2025. I hope you had a fantastic holiday for you and your family, and wishing you all the best for the 2025. I know some of us may be probably thinking, how am I going to cope this year, especially if your child just been diagnosed with autism and now it's just a new start of the year. It's okay, you're not alone. There are so many other people dealing with the same thing. Yours may be just because your child been just diagnosed, and mine may be just how I'm struggling to deal with my boy who is becoming a teenager. I remember when my child was growing, most of the time, especially for the first year when he was diagnosed with autism, it was difficult for me to think about doing gathering during Christmas and the New Year. I had to put myself out there and actually to just test it, to just see how my son is going to cope being around other people, because before he was diagnosed, we used normally to meet families and friends during Christmas. So for me, it didn't really make that much difference. I said, well, since yes, my son is diagnosed, but it doesn't stop me taking him. Let me just take him and this is how he's gonna cope. But I think I remember that year, it was a little bit of discussion with, between me and my partner, trying to figure out what is going to be the best way. Should we just maybe host Christmas to our house instead of us going to somewhere else? Because I think what happened is that after the diagnosis, when I would become more aware about his behavior, which before we weren't paying attention, he was just behaving like any other child. But then after receiving the diagnosis, we become much more aware of the behavior and how he's struggling coping with his siblings. So, and we started becoming more cautious on how he will cope with other children outside. Most people I used to meet that time, their children were very young, so he was okay to just run and play with them and do all sort of activity with other children. And yes, sometimes you hear some incident here and there, but also it wasn't only him alone, with other children as well. They were causing some more incident. So one thing I just want to tell you is that don't be too much overcautious. Keep doing what you want to do, because when you withdraw your child from meeting other children, it makes a little bit difficult, because your child will feel it. Your child will know that don't have that much contact with people. You need to be really cautious about how you're gonna support your child, especially if your child is just been diagnosed. So a little bit of story. Those children my son grew up with, most of the time, the only way I managed to support them from, playing safe and communicating together in a safe manner and making sure they all respect each other. I'm always someone who advocates for my child. So I used to tell these other children, you need to play safe, you need to stop being rude, and you need to give them all those cautions so that they grow understanding that they're all different and they should respect each other. Now the time has gone, these children has become teenagers, and recently on this particular Christmas, I decided to go and have a Christmas on one of the friend house, and where all of us again have together, meet and bring our children. And because my son, he's now 12 and he's got a bigger brother who is 14, and most of the time I always tell his bigger brother that you need to be there for your brother, especially if I'm not there. If you are playing outside or you are somewhere with the other children, make sure no one takes advantage of your brother. And I kind of educate him and just learn how to be there for his brother. I also speak to my son who's got autism. Tell him you need to speak up. If someone offend you, come and tell me, report anything, which most of the time he does, but some other time he doesn't. You can tell now he's a teenager, he's behaving like a teenager, he want to blend in with other children, but they are still lack of understanding the way they see things as a teenager. Probably doesn't know how my son see things. So recently when we were just gathering on my way back home, my bigger son said everything that was happening on my absence. And I told him, why you didn't tell me when we were still there? So he said, Mommy, I didn't want to tell you, but because I didn't want to offend you. And I asked him, can you tell me what happened? He said that one of the boy verbally abused his brother and called him that he's a stupid child. And I asked him, what was your reaction and what did you do? And he told me everything he did. I somehow felt very upset about it, that my son was called that kind of name and his brother was listening with, and also other children were listening. So and I wasn't happy about it. I wanted to call the mother of the boy because the boy also, he's 14 and he has a big brother who is 18 and some other siblings who are there. All of them know that my son has autism. I wasn't happy about what I heard, so I pick up a phone. I wanted to call the mother first, and instead of calling her, I text message. I said, hey, this is what my son told me, that one of your son, this is what he said. Do you mind educating them on to be a little bit more kind and a little bit more friendly to other children, because they need to understand that there is all these differences among children. And I also added, these boys are growing up now and this is no good thing for them to now start treating my son this way. I sent a message, I left it. I think for me, when I sent it that message, because the mother already knows that my son has autism, I expected kind of nice message of her taking an action of talking to the boys and, kind of reminding them on how they should be kind to each other. So contrary, the message I received was that your son was rude to my boy, that's why he reacted, that's why he told him that way. Honestly, I didn't have anything else to add to that. Because if you cannot speak to your child who you feel like will be able to understand about things, and now you're here defending your child that he said what he said because of what my son did, I didn't see that there is anything I could add to that. Well, if you feel like that I should have said something or I can reply to that message, please leave the comment below and let me know what you could do, what your response should be. Because for me, ever since, I just kept quiet a little bit, and I feel like I don't want to talk about this topic again, but because at some point also I want to protect my emotional feelings. I am someone who don't like or who don't want anyone else to influence how I feel. So if I don't want you to change my feelings, I tend not to, if I see especially that the conversation is going to not come up to the response I expected, I withdraw a little bit and just remain with my normal state, because I like feeling good. So if you feel like there is something else I should have done, please let me know in a comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and if you are new here and you have not subscribed, please do subscribe, because on this channel I share different that have helped my son and things I'm doing currently that are helping my son. So thank you so much, and please subscribe and also like and make a comment, because I would love to hear your thoughts on how you respond to this kind of language towards your child. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in my next video.